Welcome to the Riskwiser Zone, the podcast where we dive into the world of stocks and finance to help you make informed decisions about your investments. I'm your host, Louis, and I'm excited to have you join us today. We're starting off with a story that's been making waves in the market: Reliance Industries' recent movements and an expert's take on the automotive sector. But first, let's talk about Reliance Industries' sister company, Reliance Power, and its subsidiary, not being part of our discussion today, but instead we have news on Reliance Industries' peers such as Tata Motors and others in the automotive space. According to recent reports, Sandeep Sabharwal, a well-known expert in the field, has shared his insights on the current state of the automotive sector. He believes that companies like Ashok Leyland and Mahindra are poised for growth, driven by factors such as replacement cycles and rural buoyancy. However, he also notes that Hyundai has been losing market share due to a lack of new models. Another company that's been in the news is Balkrishna Industries, which has announced its foray into the truck and bus radial tire segment, as well as the passenger car segment. While this move may seem promising, Sabharwal cautions that it could have a negative impact on the stock price due to lower margins and increased competition. We also have news about Reliance Industries' peer, Reliance Power's sister company, Reliance Industries not being our focus, but rather its peers, such as Tata Motors and others. In other news, oil marketing companies like BPCL and HPCL have seen a surge in their stock prices. However, Sabharwal warns that this bullishness may be short-lived, especially if crude oil prices start to rise or fuel price cuts are implemented. It's clear that the automotive sector is experiencing a significant shift, with companies adapting to changing market dynamics and consumer preferences. As investors, it's essential to stay informed and up to date on these developments to make wise investment decisions. We'll be right back with more from the world of stocks and finance on the Riskwiser Zone. Welcome back to the Riskwiser Zone. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into the world of finance and risk management. In this segment, we'll be discussing the current state of the retail credit market in India and how it's impacting banks like Indian Bank. Recently, several banks have lowered their loan growth projections for the upcoming fiscal year, citing a cautious approach towards unsecured lending and efforts to improve credit deposit ratios amid sluggish deposit growth. Credit ratings companies have also cautioned about slower credit expansion after 2 years of mid-teen growth. But is the retail credit market really saturated? According to Indian Bank CEO Binod Kumar, the answer is no. He believes that the country continues to add many working-age citizens, particularly millennials and Gen Z, who have better incomes and changing spending habits. This, combined with increased global integration and upward social mobility, has significantly influenced consumer behavior, creating new demand for credit. Indian Bank is targeting an 8-12% deposit growth and 10-12% advances growth for the upcoming fiscal year. They're focusing on corporate and MSME loans as well as retail lending to achieve this target. The bank has also set up a wholly owned subsidiary, InBank Global Support Services, to help source retail clients and provide support services. It's worth noting that the default in credit card business is mainly seen in the lower end of the customer segment, which is why Indian Bank is strengthening its credit card vertical and targeting NE customers. The bank's subsidiaries and joint ventures are also creating value, with no plans to monetize them at this time. As we consider the risks and opportunities in the retail credit market, it's essential to remain balanced and informed. While there are challenges ahead, there are also opportunities for growth and innovation. We'll continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as more information becomes available. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on the Riskwiser Zone. Welcome back to the Riskwiser Zone. We've had a fantastic show so far, discussing some of the most pressing issues in the world of finance and risk management. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to bring your attention to a fascinating story that caught my eye. You may have heard about the African Development Bank, or AAFDB, which is set to elect a new president later this month. One of the contenders, Senegal's Amadou Hott, has made some waves with his proposal to tap into domestic private capital to fund development and reduce reliance on costly international borrowing. Now I know what you're thinking. Is this just another politician making promises? But hear me out. Hott estimates that Africa's wealthy individuals hold around $2.5 trillion in assets, with another $2 trillion managed by pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and insurers. That's a staggering $4.5 trillion in domestic savings and investment capacity. The idea is to unlock this capital to fund development projects rather than relying on external borrowing. And it's not just about reducing debt. It's also about creating jobs, stimulating economic growth, and improving living standards for millions of people across the continent. Of course, there are challenges to overcome. For instance, creating an African credit rating company to help sovereign borrowers win better lending terms is a complex task. But Hott believes that by offering a more nuanced African narrative grounded in local data and context, they can provide a much-needed second opinion and reduce borrowing costs for African countries. As we consider the risks and opportunities presented by this proposal, it's essential to remain balanced and objective. While there are potential benefits to tapping into domestic private capital, there are also potential drawbacks to consider, such as the risk of unequal distribution of wealth and the challenges of creating a robust regulatory framework. So, what does this mean for investors? Well, if Hott's proposal gains traction, it could lead to new investment opportunities in African markets. However, it's crucial to approach these opportunities with caution, carefully evaluating the risks and potential returns. As we conclude today's episode, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. Can Africa unlock its full potential by tapping into domestic private capital? The answer, much like the continent itself, is complex and multifaceted. That's all for today's Riskwiser Zone. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, invest with caution.